What Cynthia Morgan did to this beggar in Lagos will shock you, because in 24 hours she was supposed to call him father. But she had no idea who he really was. Welcome to Becky Stories. Where are you watching from and what time is it there? Take a moment to support us by hitting the subscribe button. Like, share, and share your thoughts below. Cynthia Morgan adjusted her designer sunglasses as she stepped out of her white Range Rover in Victoria Island. At 25, she was everything Lagos society admired: beautiful, successful, and engaged to David Adebayo, son of one of Nigeria's wealthiest businessmen. "Babe, I'm heading to the spa before dinner with your dad tonight," she texted David, her manicured fingers dancing across her iPhone screen. The reply came instantly. "Perfect. He's really excited to finally meet you properly. This dinner will change everything for us." Cynthia smiled. After 2 years of dating, David's father had remained mysteriously absent from their relationship. Always traveling, always busy with business. Tonight would be different. Tonight, she'd finally meet the man who controlled the Adebayo fortune. She strutted down Amada Bello Way, her Louboutin heels clicking against the pavement. People turned to stare. They always did. Cynthia Morgan was used to attention, used to getting what she wanted. But as she approached her favorite restaurant, something caught her eye that made her stomach turn. A dirty old man sat slumped against the building's wall, his clothes torn and stained. His gray hair was matted, his face weathered by what looked like years of hardship. In his trembling hands, he held a small bowl, quietly asking passers-by for help. "Please, just small something for food," the old man whispered to a businessman who hurried past without looking. Cynthia's perfect day suddenly felt disrupted. This eyesore was right in front of her restaurant, the place where she took her Instagram photos, where she networked with Lagos elite. She quickened her pace, hoping to slip past unnoticed. "Madam, please." The old man's voice was gentle, hopeful. "Just small change." Cynthia stopped dead in her tracks. The audacity. Didn't this man know who she was? But what happened next would haunt her forever, because this wasn't just any beggar on the streets of Lagos. "Are you serious right now?" Cynthia's voice cut through the Lagos afternoon like a blade. The old man looked up, his eyes meeting hers for the first time. There was something about those eyes, a depth, a wisdom that seemed out of place with his appearance. But Cynthia was too disgusted to notice. "You're sitting in front of MY restaurant, harassing MY friends and the people I do business with," she hissed, pointing a perfectly manicured finger at him. "Madam, I no day harass anybody. I just day ask for small help." "Help." Cynthia laughed, but there was no humor in it. "You want help? Here's some help, get a job." A small crowd began to gather. Some people pulled out their phones, sensing drama. In Lagos, everyone loved a good scene. The old man's expression remained calm, almost understanding. "My sister, life's sometimes difficult. We know no tomorrow. Don't you dare call me your sister." Cynthia exploded. "Do you see me? Do you see these clothes? This bag? This life I've built? And you think we're equals?" David's words from earlier echoed in her mind. "This dinner will change everything for us." She was so close to cementing her position in Lagos society. So close to becoming Mrs. Adebayo. She wouldn't let anyone or anything tarnish her image. The old man tried to stand, his movements slow and careful. "I understand say you angry, but nothing." Cynthia spun toward the restaurant. Through the window, she could see other patrons watching. Some were recording. Perfect. Let them see how Cynthia Morgan dealt with problems. She marched into the restaurant, her heels clicking aggressively against the marble floor. "Waiter," she called out. "Waiter." A young man rushed over, recognizing one of their VIP customers. "Yes, ma'am. That man outside is disturbing your customers. I want him gone. Now, ma'am, we don't really have authority over the street." Cynthia's eyes flashed. "Then I'll handle it myself." She grabbed the first thing she saw on the counter, a bowl of pepper soup, still warm. The waiter's eyes widened in horror. "Ma'am, wait." But Cynthia was already marching back outside, her designer dress flowing behind her like a war banner. The old man was still there, quietly accepting his fate. He had no idea what was coming, and neither did Cynthia. The Lagos afternoon seemed to pause as Cynthia emerged from the restaurant, pepper soup bowl in hand. The old man looked up at her approach, and for a split second, something flickered across his weathered face. Recognition? Sadness? It was gone too quickly to tell. "You know what?" Cynthia announced loudly, ensuring everyone could hear. "Since you're so hungry, let me feed you." "Madam, please." The old man whispered, but his voice was different now. There was something almost resigned about it. Without hesitation, Cynthia tilted the bowl and poured the scalding pepper soup directly over the old man's head. The liquid splashed across his face, soaking into his torn clothes. The pepper burned his eyes. The hot broth ran down his neck. But what shocked the gathering crowd wasn't his reaction. It was his lack of one. He didn't scream. He didn't curse. He didn't even wipe his face immediately. Instead, he looked up at Cynthia with something that looked almost like pity. "God forgive you," he said quietly, his voice barely audible over the crowd's gasps. The crowd erupted. Phones were everywhere now, recording, uploading, sharing. Social media was about to explode with the video of Lagos socialite Cynthia Morgan humiliating a helpless beggar. "Cynthia." A voice boomed from across the street. She turned to see David running toward them, his face a mask of horror and confusion. "David, baby, I was just..." She started, suddenly realizing how this might look. "What did you do?" David's voice cracked as he reached them. "I was protecting our image. This person was harassing customers, sitting in front of..." David wasn't listening. He was staring at the old man, who was finally wiping pepper soup from his eyes with a dirty cloth. Something strange was happening to David's face. The color was draining from it completely. "Oh my God," David whispered. "Oh my God, oh my God, oh my God." "Baby, what's wrong?" "It's just a beggar. We can call the police if..." "Cynthia." David's voice was hollow now. "Do you know who this is?" The old man stood slowly, pepper soup still dripping from his clothes. When he looked at David, his entire demeanor changed. The broken, defeated posture straightened. The desperate voice became stronger. "Hello, son," he said simply. The words hit Cynthia like a physical blow. But the truth was so much worse than she could have ever imagined. Time stopped. The Lagos traffic seemed to quiet. The crowd's chatter faded to a whisper. Even the pepper soup dripping from the old man's beard seemed to fall in slow motion. "Son." Cynthia's voice came out as barely a whisper. David's hands were shaking now. "Dad, why are you?" "Dad." Cynthia's scream cut through the afternoon air like breaking glass. "Chief Adebayo." Because that's who this was, Nigeria's third richest man, owner of Adebayo Industries, the man she was supposed to have dinner with in 3 hours, looked at his son with sad, knowing eyes. "I wanted to see who she really was," he said simply, pepper soup still stinging his eyes. "When people think no one important is watching." The crowd pressed closer now, sensing this was bigger than a simple street incident. Phones recorded every second. Cynthia's mind raced frantically. This couldn't be happening. This couldn't be happening. You're supposed to be in Dubai. David said you were in Dubai for business. I came back early, Chief Adebayo replied, his voice gaining strength. I wanted to meet the woman my son plans to marry. I wanted to see her heart. Her heart. Cynthia laughed, but it sounded hysterical now. This was a test? You were testing me. And you failed, Chief Adebayo said quietly. Completely. David looked between his father and his fiancée, his world crumbling. Cynthia, how could you? How could you treat another human being like this? He's not just another human being, she shrieked. He's your father. He's rich. He was lying to me. The words tumbled out before she could stop them, revealing everything ugly about her motivations. So if he wasn't rich, this would be acceptable? David's voice was deadly quiet now. Cynthia realized her mistake too late. No, I didn't mean. You poured scalding soup on a man you thought was homeless and helpless, Chief Adebayo said, wiping pepper from his eyes. You humiliated someone you believed had nothing. Someone who couldn't fight back. I was protecting us. Our reputation. Your reputation, David corrected. This was never about us. The crowd was getting restless now, murmuring among themselves. Someone shouted, She poured pepper soup for Chief Adebayo. The recognition rippled through the gathering like wildfire. Chief Adebayo. The Chief Adebayo. And this girl had just... But what happened next would shock everyone, including Cynthia herself. Chief Adebayo reached into his torn shirt and pulled out his phone, not the broken, cracked device Cynthia expected, but the latest iPhone in a gold case. One phone call. That's all it took. Security, this is Chief. Yes, I'm fine. No, cancel the dinner reservation at Eco Hotel. Cancel everything. Cynthia watched in growing horror as her future dissolved with each word. David, Chief Adebayo continued, his voice gaining the authority she should have recognized earlier. Take off that ring. Dad, maybe we can talk about this. Take off the ring. David looked at Cynthia, his eyes filled with disappointment and disgust. Slowly, he reached for her hand. No. Cynthia yanked her hand away. You can't do this. We're getting married in 3 weeks. The invitations are sent. The venue is booked. The venue can be canceled. Chief Adebayo said simply. The invitations can be recalled. The ring can be returned. But I love him. Cynthia's voice cracked with desperation. Love. Chief Adebayo asked, pepper soup still staining his clothes. You love his money, his status, his name. But do you love him? The question hung in the air like a challenge. Of course I love him. Why didn't you show compassion for someone you thought was less fortunate? Why was your first instinct cruelty? Each question hit like a physical blow. David slowly pulled the engagement ring from her finger. The diamond caught the Lagos sunlight one last time before disappearing into his pocket. Cynthia, he said softly, my father is right. I've been blind to who you really are. David, please. Someone who could do this to another human being. Someone who could humiliate and hurt someone they thought was powerless. That's not someone I can marry. The crowd watched in stunned silence as Lagos society drama unfolded in real time. Videos were already going viral across Nigerian social media. Chief Adebayo looked at Cynthia one final time. You know what the saddest part is? If you had shown kindness to that beggar, to who you thought was just a beggar, you would have gained a father, a husband, and a family today. He paused, letting the weight of her loss settle in. Instead, you chose cruelty. And cruelty always has consequences. Father and son walked away together, leaving Cynthia standing alone on the busy Lagos street, pepper soup stains on her designer dress, her future in ruins. The crowd slowly dispersed, but the phones kept recording. By evening, #PepperSoupGirl was trending across Nigeria. By morning, the story had gone international. New York Times carried it in their morning show. The Washington Post wasn't left out either. It trended for weeks globally, but not the way Cynthia would have wanted it. Cynthia Morgan had gotten exactly what she'd always wanted. Everyone was talking about her. Just not the way she'd planned. And that's why kindness matters more than status. Compassion costs nothing, but means everything. And you never know who's watching when you think no one important is there. What would you have done in this situation? Let me know in the comments below.